Hello, hello. Thank you for joining us for another wonderful Urban Wine Club and Greek Wine Club Lenten cooking and wine demo featuring the wonderful and fabulous Eleni Saltas. Thank you so much, Eleni, for joining us once again. This is her second appearance. The people couldn't get enough the first time, so we brought her on back. But before we before we get to Eleni, let me introduce Foti Stamos, my co-host. Hello, Foti. How are you?
Including yourself, Ari.
I am great, great, great. What's going on?
I've been waiting for this webinar for a while, for a couple reasons. One is because we are, in full force for Lent, for Greek Orthodox Lent, and also because I'm really fascinated about the reasons behind this whole approach to eating from the faith side. But also we can discuss this a little bit more in detail as we get going about the science behind fasting. But yes, let's get underway. Eleni, thank you so much for joining us. This is your second appearance, as Ari has mentioned. We love having you back as always. You bring a nice element to our platform. So welcome, Eleni.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me again, and thanks for everyone that's tuning in. Appreciate everyone joining in.
And
So
let's Foti, tell us in detail what this one's about, because we call it Lenten, but we also call it vegan, and that's, you guys
Well,
correct me if I'm wrong. Same, it could be considered either or.
yes, I'll let Eleni to elaborate, but we are in the 40-day fasting period for Greek Easter, where certain things are restricted. Well, actually, a lot of things are restricted, and there's a calendar that we can discuss too with Eleni that we can find on the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese website, um, on what we should be eating. And beyond that, towards later in the segment, we can discuss about the benefits of eating this way outside of the Orthodox calendar.
All right, cool. Okay, because I'm very interested in this. We were discussing before we went live about fasting and
Right.
our meat intake and all that. So this is actually very interesting to me.
And Eleni's going to make it actually appealing, because sometimes I got to say, as growing up as Greek Americans, when it came to Greek Easter and our parents would enforce fasting, it was like, oh, we dreaded the fact that we couldn't eat certain foods, and how are we going to survive for 40 days without meat and all this.
It was always the big problem every year for me when I was little. Like, oh no, I
But
can't.
it's individuals like Eleni that make it seamless, that there's so many dishes that you can come up with to make it enticing, appealing, delicious, and easy. So Eleni's going to break down two recipes for us this evening. She's going to bring out the classic Kritharaki with tomato sauce, and we're going to go into a vegan bugazza after. But let's start with Eleni giving us her thoughts on these two dishes and why Kritharaki with tomato sauce.
yeah, so Kritharaki with tomato sauce. I love that dish. One of the most popular dishes on my blog is the Kritharaki with a meat sauce, like a ground beef. And so that's like just the most comforting dish to me, really. I love it. So I like doing this one without the meat sauce because I still like crave that comfort during Lent. And it's so simple to make too, and no one's really gonna, kids, whatever will eat it, parents will eat it, like anyone will eat it, it's a good one, no finicky eaters, it
And it's filling.
and it's filling, yeah. So you
Yeah.
want some filling, so you can't just eat fuck yes every day, and like that's filling too, but like you need a little bit more substance, and so this could be great as a main dish or great as a side dish. It works both ways. And for me, and for anyone that else wants to make this recipe later on, you can easily double, triple this recipe and have it for a few days, like lunch and dinners.
Yeah.
And so I'm just gonna here to show you like how quickly, again, like Greek food already is like really simple to make, and to show you too, like you can eat simple Lenten vegan foods very fast as well. So I also have a bugazza that, and I love bugazza. You want a little, crave a little sweetness, because kind of when you sustain from certain things, you start craving certain. So like for me, I crave like I crave more sweets, and I'm not like a big sweet person until I'm like sustaining from meats and cheeses and things like that. I'm like, I need something.
Interesting.
So this kind of gives me a little bit of like hits that spot, I guess, or hits
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I love bugatsa, and it's really simple to make with making it vegan too. So it's not too terrible. And vegan food can be good too. Vegan. I'm saying vegan because it's a broader term for anyone that might be following along that might not be following a Lenten term or anything like that. So yeah, is there any other questions
So
before?
Kritharaki is also known as orzo, correct?
Yeah, I'll show you the thing that I have. So this gets both says Kritharaki. So yeah, so this is like this is what I use for my Kritharaki. So
Ooh.
also orzo, or some people even call it manestra. So it just depends on honestly like the packaging. So like sometimes like I've seen it and it says manestra, sometimes it says orzo. So it's like whatever. It's all the same.
Ari, basically it's like little pasta that looks like rice.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Cookie. Thank you.
For anyone watching, yeah, it's great. So
Right. But yeah, I mean that brand that you just put up there, is it Misko?
yeah.
Misko. It's like iconic. Like every Greek household has a couple bags of that in the pantry.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yesterday I was on the like we're making it, and I was currently out because I have made it a few, and so went on the hunt for it. It's not as easy to find in Utah. We don't have as great of a variety of shops. So
Well,
that is-
Greekazon can help you.
yeah, I know. I need to. Yeah, we can talk about that as well. Greek is on getting your products as you're representing. Yeah.
Shameless plug.
You can put a logo on here. I'll put a green screen back here. Throw a logo on me.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But so we laid down the recipe, the instructions on the listing of the event. So
Yeah.
you've got your Kritharaki, and what are the next steps, Eleni?
So actually, I'm gonna just start with the bugatsa because that's
okay.
gonna be easier because I want the custard to kind of cool before. So I'm just kind of like gonna be bouncing back and forth. So bear with me. I'll kind of guide you. So I'll start with the bugatsa, and so really quick with the bugatsa, I'm gonna kind of be like bringing you back around to my
Sure.
or my stove. So I use to everybody. So like that's watching whatever. You can use because bugatsa calls for a milk. So you can use almond milk, but I like to use coconut milk because it has more fat, actually, like a fat flavor. So I like to get that fatty flavors. So I'm gonna use that sugar, and then I have like a vegan butter for the phyllo, and I'm gonna put a little bit of butter into the custard as well. So just find like a good vegan butter. I like this one because it's a little more buttery than, or like not really butter, like tastes more buttery. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
So the coconut milk, you said it tastes fattier, or is it because the consistency is fattier, like the texture?
I think the texture, yeah. So like almond milk depends on what you get, can kind of be a little more runny.
Okay.
So coconut milk actually does have a little bit more of like a fatty content.
Can I ask you, Eleni, have you ever tried oat milk?
I have. I could try it next time. Yeah, that can put.
I mean, have you tried it with the bugatsa specifically?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay.
Well,
I'd be interested in
hold on. I just tried it oatmeal in my cappuccino at Starbucks, and it didn't do it for me.
oatmeal, you said, or oat milk?
Oat milk.
Oh, you didn't like it?
It tasted like there was oatmeal in my coffee.
Oh, interesting. But I think that would mesh well with the bugatsa. I don't know.
Maybe it might work for bugatsa.
But,
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, that could work.
All right, so we got vegan butter, we've got coconut milk.
Yeah, so I'm gonna add really quick to this to my pot over here. I'll just kind of
Sure.
I'm gonna pour things in and I'll bring it in as I go. But I'm gonna pour in my butter or my milk, my sugar, and let that kind of start cooking first, and then I'll show you. And my semolina, really quick, I can show you guys the semolina that we're gonna be using. So I have this already measured out. I have a cup full of semolina. This one's a thicker version. I did find a thinner version too. So yeah, semolina goes in bugatsa for this creamy, custardy texture. So I'm gonna get the pot going first. So I'm gonna pour in 4 cups of coconut milk. Again, you can use any alternative milk that you like. I've used almond milk, but I have used it before, but I've noticed
I
I like,
agree with you though. I feel like almond milk is kind of runny, watery.
yeah, like this. I don't know if you can see, like kind of a little bit thicker.
Yeah, that definitely looks more of a.
Yeah, so I did this the last 2 times I made it, and I like it better. So I'm gonna use 4 cups of coconut milk into a saucepan over medium heat, and yeah, like.
Yeah, that's.
Have you tried coconut milk?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not a big fan of coconut milk because I don't know. I just have an issue with the coconutty taste. That's why like I always veer towards
You
oat
say
milk now.
say coconutty.
Coconutty.
We're making up words today. Coconutty. Yeah. So I have 4 cups of coconut milk, and then I'm gonna do sugar. So like you can find like an organic cane sugar. That's a vegan option. Or yeah, because some people might go like way strict with like vegan, like to the bone marrow. So
Mhm.
some brown sugar, some sugars actually come from like animal products. So it depends on like how strict you are
Oh,
for vegan diet. So just to
Interesting.
let you know too that
That's good to know.
that's something to remember. So yeah, because I don't know like how strict like people are, but that is like an actual thing to watch out for. So all right, we got my semolina and sugar. We're gonna pour that into the pot as well and let that warm just a bit. And with this, we're just gonna constantly stir it just because the semolina will start thickening pretty quickly.
And so just to reiterate that the recipes are on the event page. So if anybody missed it, you could just go to the event page and find those, and we'll post it as well when we post the video and podcast.
Yeah, and I just saw that Eleni from Greece says hi. She's so sweet. You guys should definitely link up with her. She's very nice. Hi, how are you? I know the microphone's off, but I saw your message. I want to say hi. She's so sweet.
so Eleni is in Greece, so that means it's like 2:15 in the morning.
Yeah, it'd be like 3:20 probably. Yeah. Oh wait, yeah,
Oh,
two.
3:20?
Wow, yeah. Oh,
Wow.
thanks for joining. You're so sweet. So yeah, come on here. So I'm just gonna give that a nice little stir. And then once that thickens up a little bit, we're gonna add a zest of a lemon, and then and some butter. So I'm gonna melt the butter. So again, I'm using this Earth Balance vegan option for this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in these times, if you were talking about vegan like 20, 30 years ago, as opposed to today, I think today we kind of have I don't want to call it's not technology, but it's like the way the science behind making these things. Like you could get really good tastes out of a lot of these vegan products.
Totally.
A lot of times I can't even tell the difference.
Which also like I try to be I try to have like more traditional stuff too, because like you can easily get like fake cheese. And
Mhm.
I've had that and I'm like, you know what? Like that's not how like our ancestors would have. I like some of my recipes, like it's great and convenient. I can get like an Impossible Burger, it's vegan, whatever, and I do that. But like when I create recipes, I really try to do something that would be more like actual product, like green.
Yeah, sticking to the original.
As I'm using like this like fake butter, whatever the heck is in this, and coconut milk. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's some things I want to just try and like not do. Like I have like made like a quesadilla with like fake cheese or whatever it is, like vegan cheese. And I'm like, what am I eating right now? I don't even know how to do this,
Right.
You're right.
It's also scary.
Discipline. That's what it comes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. So I'm just gonna get this going, like really the bugazza, and then while that's in the oven, then we'll make the kritharaki. You'll notice how simple that one comes together as well. I'm just gonna grab my phyllo dough.
So, Foti, when do you want to like kind of talk about the fasting and the?
We should kind of squeeze it in between as Eleni is doing her preparations and
Sure.
doing us the ropes. But Eleni brought up a couple points about we want to follow a certain lifestyle of eating, but then we choose products that imitate certain products that we would like, fake cheeses, fake meats, of fake, substances to take the place of what we're. But sometimes you say to yourself, then what's the point? Like, you can definitely choose natural whole foods, um, to take on the nutrition that you need
Mhm.
instead of sourcing fake products. And I mean, we use the word fake loosely, but what is fake cheese? Like, what's in it?
Well,
Vegan.
could I ask you a philosophical question?
This is what yeah, it's always philosophical.
so so I'll speak specifically for Lent. Okay, in the Greek Orthodox religion, we're in Lent right now, and that's one of the reasons why we have Eleni showcasing these wonderful recipes. Um, but the part of that spiritual Greek Orthodox religious aspect is that we give up something we love, because people, generally speaking, they eat meat, they eat dairy, they do this, they do that, so they give it up as like kind of like a sacrifice, right? So if nowadays you have the fake versions, or quote unquote fake version, and you get the taste, you get the aspect of it, are you really giving anything up? I mean, it's not like the science of like you're not eating meat. It's the faith where you're giving something up. So if you're just replacing it with a cheese that tastes like cheese but it's not cheese, or a steak that tastes like steak but it's not steak, isn't that not really
Yeah, we're cheap.
abiding by the Lenten
Yeah, it's a mindset. It's about refraining. It's about, building the ability to, to restrain from certain things that's required. And in the times that we talk about distractions in today's society, like, it's hard for a lot of us to avoid certain things because we're being constantly bombarded with our environment, where, whether it's marketing, whether it's, media, social media, uh, corporations, big brands are out there in your face, constantly pushing product, and you're distracted. And then it goes into another. This is, we can go on about this, but you acquire cravings, as Lenny mentioned about cravings, and when you're used to eating a certain regimen of foods, and you break away from it, your body then starts to also get confused, because it's it's seeking what you used to be putting into your body, like carbs and sugars and certain types of proteins. So it's an adjustment psychologically, it's an adjustment physically, and it's an adjustment emotionally when you start to kind of step into this new way of eating.
Yeah. I mean, Eleni mentioned that she tries to stick a little more to the tradition. And I think if you're going to fast, especially on the spiritual end, if you're going to fast, do it the old school way. I mean, that's the real sacrifice. And I think that's good in a health aspect, in health wise. I think it's good for you to lay off of a lot of these things once in a while, if not more often than not. So,
Mm.
that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I
It's
kind of go both ways on that. So like with fasting, I think um there's a lot of people, yeah, like wants to be traditional, whatever, is very strict and all that. But to me with fasting, it's like what you can do and what you're able to do. And I have this like whole blog on this actually. I wrote it before. I don't know if it's still up right now, but I just kind of talk about how we tend to like with Lent, especially like as American, like Americanized, I guess, like
Mhm.
we say like, because I have like a lot of Catholic friends too, is like I'm giving up this, I'm
Yeah.
giving up that. And it's more of, and we put this on us like I want to give this up, I want to give up sweet swearing, whatever. And we kind of make it like so um strict in that way too. I mean, as for Lent, I mean, it shouldn't be like I want to give up this. It's just like it's kind of like what you need to get, like what you need to um like
Hmm.
what you're kind of missing in your life, like
Yeah.
or you're distracted. I notice I'm a little more distracted. I notice I'm like we're like subconsciously eating all this. It should be like what you want to gain back rather than what you want to give up, is like how I kind of want to
Mhm.
like do it too. When I'm talking about like with eating, I like to follow the more traditional, because mostly because like some of the products I just don't trust, like when I'm like
Mhm.
seeing like the cheeses and like things like that, I'm like,
Sure.
that's where I'm like, I don't like that. Like I want to go as more green as I can, more
Yeah.
whole as I can. But I don't know. Lent is like I go through those phases, right? So like some years I'm like I'm gonna be strict and like go like exact like fast like you know, like not eat meat, cheeses, whatever, dairy to the core, like so strict. And then some years, one year I was like, I am like so connected to my phone, so connected to social media, and like it was so hard, like it was like kind of draining me, or I like gave that up because that was my distraction, and I wanted to gain back that like part of
Yeah.
my life. So to me, Lent can be like whatever you feel like you need, and like what like it doesn't have to always be the food. Sometimes like some people want to fast just Wednesdays and Fridays from meat or whatever. All power to you. And so I just want to give people a way to like enjoy these foods, and like, and they're not so bad, you know?
Yes.
And like Foti said, like it's a healthy way to eat year round. I was telling everyone before, for anyone listening right now, I have a friend that follows, not Greek Orthodox, follows our Lenten fast. He's a strength coach. Into nutrition, and he's like, the Greek Orthodox calendar is like so amazing with how they follow the fast, like Wednesdays, Fridays, like not eating meat, whatever. He's like, I think that's a great, like one of the best diets in the world, because we put too much like meats and like animal products into our body, and we need a little, our bodies need a little bit of break. So I think that's a, I kind of went on a tangent. I'm sorry, but
No,
Oh,
but
this is great.
yeah, no, you're right. I agree with a lot of that. I'm gonna give up hanging out with Foti for Lent. So
Well, you kind of have. We're only hanging out virtually, so does that count?
it's my biggest joy, and that's what I'm giving up, Foti.
Uh,
so yeah, biggest joy. Yeah. So really quick, as that's thickening up, I'm gonna start the Kritharaki so we can kind of get a bunch of things going. Let my phyllo thaw a little bit. So to my pot, I'll kind of actually go over here really quick and just show you everybody what's going on this way. So really quick, just showing you my pot. This is my custard. I'm just letting it thicken a little bit.
Looks good.
So that just needs to thicken for my custard. And then I have butter over here, the vegan butter. And I'm gonna put half of this into the custard once I take it off, and then half of it I will layer the phyllo. And then while I'm here, I'm gonna be making the kritharaki in this pot. So I'm gonna get that going. Just get the pan warm, add some olive oil, and saute some onions. So we'll start with that.
so the oil down first, then the onions.
Yeah, you want to get the pot hot and then add the oil.
Nice.
And then yeah, you saute the onion, and then I'll season that with salt, pepper, oregano, then garlic.
There's
So
something
I'll
about
kind of guide
that.
you at.
There's something about that unique aroma when
Mhm.
onions are being cooked in olive oil in the kitchen.
Love it.
I love onions and garlic are like my cooking or is my favorite scent.
Yeah,
I like
that hits it home.
yeah. Like throw that on, yeah, like put that as a perfume. I'm in. Yeah. Yeah, I'll get that going here. And I have olive oil from Crete here.
course.
Ooh.
Yes. And Eleni's watching. I do have olive oil called Oleo Sophia, also from Greece.
Mhm.
So I don't, not with me right now, but that's a really good olive oil. Anyone was asking a different types of olive oil. So shout out to, she gave me this like great recommendation. So
Awesome. We'll save that for the next segment.
I know we'll do a whole like, yeah, olive oil. Just gonna keep checking on this really quick. This custard is thickening.
Mhm.
You gotta watch this because the semolina will thicken and it gets, it's just like a little bit different texture when you have the coconut milk, so it just takes a little bit longer to work together.
And then, Foti, are you gonna discuss anything with the wines?
Well, yeah, definitely. So,
Or
you
do
know, I know there's certain times of the month during Lent that we are allowed to drink wine, but we also wanted to at least include a wine pairing. So when you decide to make these dishes outside of the Lenten period, Eleni's dish with the Kritharaki and the tomato sauce, we chose to pair a red wine from Crete made from a grape called Liatico, which is not so common here with us, but it's made its way into the market recently, and I love this red wine. Liatico makes wines that are well balanced, good structure. They're light enough to drink, so they're easy to drink, but there's plenty of character so that it works well with the dish that Eleni's making right now. Yeah, so you're cooking with Greek olive oil, and we're pairing it with Greek wine as well. I mean, Cretan wine, sorry.
That is Greek, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Well, back in the
Connected,
day,
we didn't even know that. Yeah, we connected. Yeah.
yeah, back in the days, Cretans wanted to be
What was
called.
that?
I said back in the days, Cretans wanted to be identified as Cretans, not Greeks.
I still want to be
There's
identified
a
as
lot of them
Greek.
that still.
But
Don't group me with you, Foti.
But yeah, so the reasoning behind the red wine and Kritharaki and tomato sauce is because tomato sauce is acidic, right? Liatico has nice tannins, it's dry. So the tannins in Liatico balance off the acidity in the tomato sauce with Kritharaki, and they combine a nice marriage of flavors and textures,
Ooh.
right?
We have a
And
Foti,
some
can you
of
see
the
the
sauces,
chat?
I do add wine.
Eleni?
I don't have it on this recipe, but because again, that's what was that?
Can
you hear
I
me?
was asking, yeah. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
I was asking Foti if he could see the chat because I think Eleni is. Thank you so much. So let me to you, Eleni Saltas. Let me read what the other Eleni is writing. Thank you so much for your mention, Eleni. We run a small family business. We would love to join you in another virtual event. Food pairings we love, which is that sounds great. And then, all right, I'm gonna test my Greek now. Hold on.
Here we go.
Μουριά, καλό κρασί και καλό λάδι. Τι καλύτερο σε κάθε μαγείρεμα. Okay, got it. So I wanted to let you know of her comments.
Google Translate. But yes, Eleni from Greece is so right. You know, good olive oil and good wine. I mean, what's better than that?
Nothing.
Well, actually, a nice loaf of fresh bread, and you're good to go.
And garlic and tomato and feta, and I could go on and on. Forget it.
But yeah.
I'm gonna come back over and I'm gonna take it off the heat. So I'm just gonna take it off the heat and I'll come back and bring it over because the custard has thickened up. So I'll show you. So yeah, so it thickened really, really fast. Yeah, it does. So let me show you here.
Was that like 10 minutes?
I need yeah. And this one, sometimes you can even get them so you see thickened here. This is what we want. You guys can see. So it's a nice custard texture. I'm going to take it off the heat, like I said. So actually off the same stove I was on because it still carries some heat. And then I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm going to add just half of the melted butter. So I'm here. Just going to add about half. And my trust is here to hold the camera up. Great. And then just give that a nice little, yeah. So,
Your cameraman was late to the show.
she's late today. What is she doing? She's fired. No.
Is it your mom again?
And then you can, yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
We have to give her credit.
Family affair whenever you're. Yeah, Paula Saltas. Yeah. So this is that custard now that I have butter, and then you can also add a zest of a lemon to add a little bit of lemon if you like lemon. And I'm just let that just sit for a second as we prepare. I want it just to kind of cool a little bit before we put it all in. As that's cooling really quick, I'm going to change pots around and we will work on our Kritharaki. So our onions are going to be sauteing here. And I'm going to season that with salt, pepper, and oregano. There we go. Mother is back.
I just want to imagine the smell right now. Oop.
I said it's the best smell ever.
Yeah.
So salt, pepper, and oregano. Everything to taste, and always I season a lot. So Never be scared to season. So I'm just gonna let these kind of cook for a little bit. They get translucent. Put it down a little bit. Yeah. Let that cook for a little bit here. Add our garlic and tomato sauce, and then we'll let it kind of just cook all together. So letting that cook. We're kind of cooking, going along here. And I'm gonna get my oven preset to 350 because we're gonna pop the bugazza in the oven while the Kritharaki finishes off.
We got many different moving parts. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is like how I work. Yeah, constantly moving. I can't just like sit and do one thing. I'm like all over the place always.
Do you ever like forget something that's in the oven sometimes?
I've probably done that. I've probably done a lot of things. Yeah.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Shocker, Foti.
Yeah, that's because you get so involved with drinking wine that you forget.
Oh, I should be pouring. Yeah, I should be sipping some wine. Get that going.
Yes, I'm gonna pour glass while you pour glass.
Which one should I drink? The red one?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna leave the sparkling for the bugazza, but you can have the sparkling out too if you want.
Everyone, really quick that's watching. I was preparing before this, and I was opening up this wine, and I opened it, and it popped everywhere. I wish you guys all saw it because it's very.
I know. And the one time that we should have been recording, we weren't.
Totally how I roll.
We're always recording. That's the funny part.
Our tech guy was just. I don't know.
So yamas.
Yeah.
Anyone that's drinking anything right now, cheers.
Cheers.
Okay. So I'm gonna let the custard cool and I'm gonna let the tomato sauce get going, and that way while that's going, we'll prepare the bugazza.
Beautiful.
So I'm gonna add the garlic to the Kritharaki. So I like a lot of garlic, so I use about 4 cloves, or you can always use more. Totally up to you. And I'm gonna let that saute with the onions really quick, and I'll come back and forth and show you guys.
Sure.
Okay, so we come over here, Mama. So I just put the garlic with the onions, and I'm gonna let that saute for about 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna add the tomato sauce and let the sauce start cooking together, and I'll just kind of show you as we go.
Sure.
Okay, so we're gonna bring this over here. Okay, show you here. Okay. So come on over here. Yeah, right there. Okay, so best smell right here, onions and now garlic with salt, pepper, and oregano. Just kind of get them nice and golden translucent. Lots of seasoning. I like to salt and oregano, pepper. Those are my standards with garlic and onions.
Yes.
And then I'm going to add in a 20-ounce can of tomato sauce into the pot, and I'm going to get it all over my shirt for some reason, because that's who I am. And so with this, I also add, keep that there. I also add water. So my guy would always say, no, see right here, we want to get all that. So I'm going to add water. So I'm already going to add about 3 cups of water anyway to the pot. So I'm going to use this to refill my water.
I like it.
And you get to clean out all the excess tomato sauce.
Don't waste anything.
Nothing.
My guy grew up in the Great Depression era, so she does not waste anything.
Good for her.
So
it's the best way to be.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna add that water, and I'm also gonna add about 1.5 cups of vegetable broth, just to add a little bit more flavor. So keep that there.
Okay.
Vegetable broth. You can use vegetable broth. Vegetable broth in here. Let's see. How much water is that? 3 cups.
So do you have it on medium heat or low heat, Eleni?
And then just like another half of this water.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's on medium heat. Sorry. And so this is my tomato sauce now. And I'm gonna just season this now with some cinnamon, oregano. I like cinnamon with the tomato sauce. And then you can also, my dad always adds a little bit of ketchup. And I know it seems weird. You can leave it out if you don't like that. But this is a little trick she does with sauces, just like a squirt of tomato sauce. It adds a little bit of sweetness. You can leave that out or add sugar. Yeah, you can leave that out or add sugar if you'd like. And then I'm gonna add some cinnamon, and and then cinnamon makes a nice flavor for sauces. Like whenever I use like a meat sauce or tomato sauce, I really like adding cinnamon.
Elaine, do we know?
So I'm just gonna let this. I'm gonna put a lid on. What was that?
Do we know the roots of?
I
I
can't hear you.
Can you hear us now?
Do we know the root?
Well,
question. Okay, let me.
We've had this conversation with others about cinnamon in different minced meats and sauces. Do we maybe know where the roots of the cinnamon is added? Because some parts of Greece they don't use it, and other parts do. Where I come from the island of Kalymnos and the Decanis, it's common to have cinnamon in a lot of minced meat sauces.
Yeah, I don't know the history of it.
Ari?
I don't know the history either, but I feel like a lot of Greek cooking is
cinnamon. Yeah,
the cinnamon's part of that. Let's see if anybody out there watching knows anything.
Eleni from Greece.
It's from the maintenance. It's for the maintenance of the meat. Oh.
So by maintenance, I think she means
there was no refrigeration back then.
Oh, interesting.
It would preserve. See, there we go. I love it. I love.
Very interesting.
I've been having this like group of people. Yeah. Thank you.
Eleni, bravo, Eleni.
Eleni, yeah.
So basically, we don't need to put our meat in the refrigerator. We just put cinnamon. We're good.
So I know they used to salt meat back in the day when there was no refrigeration, but I guess cinnamon could work in the same way.
Yeah.
I also think it was like the area too. I think it was more north or like from Turkey, maybe from.
Yeah, that sounds.
Cinnamon. Yeah. So and then obviously the influences of.
But I gotta say, I enjoy the flavor of minced meat or meat sauces with cinnamon in it.
Oh, I love it. I love cinnamon. Actually, we made kalit sunya the other night, me and my dad, and we used cheese. We made a cheese, whatever, and we added cinnamon and mint. So some people don't like cinnamon in their cheese, whatever, but I love the flavors, and it also can be like a regional thing too. So
right. No, awesome.
Quick little side note. I'm just gonna bring the sauce to the tomato sauce just to a boil, and I'm gonna lower the heat and put a lid on it that just simmer for a little while to create that flavor. I like to, with sauces, take it nice and slow. Don't rush the sauce, even though it's a simple one. I just like to let that develop and just taste it as you go. Add more salt, cinnamon, oregano as you like, and I'm gonna let that boil. Put the lid on, and then we will build our bugazza, which we're about to do.
Bugazza building.
Sure is
that should be a workshop.
I love it.
Yeah.
Build a bugazza.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this lid on it, let it just kind of simmer for a little bit, and then we will build the bugazza.
So Eleni, some parts of Greece call this a bugazza, and other parts of Greece call it something different.
Like what?
When I have lots of friends that are from the northern parts of Greece, like Thessaloniki, Katerini, and so forth, and they were referred to anything that was wrapped in phyllo as a bugazza, and it could be filled with cheese, cream, meats, and so forth.
What?
Right, and then other parts of Greece only refer to bugazza as something that's filled with cream.
Interesting.
That's what I thought. I thought that it was just a sweet dessert.
Well, that's what I thought, but when I went to Thessaloniki and I went out with a bunch of my buddies and they ordered bugazza, and I said, sure, get me whatever you guys get. They brought a variety of bugazzas, salty and sweet, or savory and sweet.
Yeah. So in Thessaloniki,
yeah,
There's a sweeter version, like the bugazza that I'm making, the custard version.
Uh,
And then in Crete, there's like a manestra version. It's so good. If you have like a manestra cheese, all you need is some honey on top,
yeah.
whatever. Or not even honey, just sometimes they just do like some sugar and cinnamon on top, and it's so good. And I've like tried to replicate that here, but you need that specific like manestra
Mhm.
from Crete, and that one's really good. Then there's also bugazza with like cassetti and pastorma. There's
Mhm.
different
Oh,
versions.
man.
There's actually a place in, and I'm sure there's other restaurants, but in Athens, there's a shop called Bugazzion or something, Bugazzion, whatever. And there's
Right.
a variety of bugazzas. And so yeah, there's a lot of different flavors,
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's
the
awesome.
in northern Greece definitely uses more of that sweet. And then
We need to open a Bugazza food truck.
God, I would honestly, it's so good. But yeah, like the sweet versions are easy to create here.
Right.
Where like I said, like the cheese, like the bugazza from Crete, I'm like, I'm not even gonna touch it. It's like I can't mess up a perfect thing. So
Right. Right.
yeah. Okay, so we're gonna build the bugazza. Speaking of lots of bugazza, okay. So I'm gonna bring this down here. Unless you want to like do like a little halftime and like talk about anything. That's up
Yeah. Well, so as you're doing your thing, I mean, we wanted to kind of continue elaborating on Ari the light that the Lent versus vegan and what it means, and we've been touching upon this from different aspects, health, where you know we did segments on vegan wine. The wine can be, people like wine is vegan. Well, wine does also use animal byproducts in the filtering process.
But and you taught me this, Fatih, but I'm gonna reverse it and school you. It's more of a white wine thing to remove the cloudiness, right?
Yeah. So the majority of white wine production is filtered with some sort of animal protein or animal byproduct.
Which
Yeah,
a lot of people do not know.
right. In order
Because when
for
I said vegan wine, we were speaking to somebody and they laughed. And they're like, isn't all wine vegan? And we were like,
technically,
no.
so,
I didn't know that.
and as you mentioned too, Eleni, that some sugars are processed with animal byproducts, so they can't be vegan either. So, there's a big movement of natural wines around the world, and natural wines basically mean wines are produced with nothing added to them. They're just made with pressing the grapes and carefully watching the wine ferment with adding nothing to it, basically. And you know wines have a different result when they're being produced naturally. And we're living in a world today that we're becoming more and more intrigued on learning and understanding the benefits of eating whole, drinking clean, sourcing foods that are from sustainable practices. It's a big thing today, right? So you know, amongst the crazy world that we live in with all these, and I call them distractions, we're trying to find some meaning to, how we should be eating, right? And it's efforts like this, these cooking demos, these webinars that we're trying to bring light that you can really enjoy great food and still be healthy.
Hmm.
Mhm. Totally. I agree. Yeah, I'd like to create more recipes like that too, just to have that healthy balance. Okay, really quick. Sorry, like feel like I'm like really quick. Want to do something?
No, no, it's
Add the orzo, so the Kritharaki. So like anyone that might have popped on, I'm using this. I'm using 2 cups of the Kritharaki. I'm gonna put that in the pot, and then after because that tomato sauce boiled, I'm gonna add that to the pot, and then let that cook for about 20 to 25 minutes in the pot. Always constantly stir whenever you have anything like this because the orzo will stick because it will start to thicken. And I'll kind of go back and forth and check it, and then we'll build the bugazza. I feel like I said build the bugazza a lot, but we will do that after this. So yeah, I just want to hurry and throw that in, so and then we can obviously
Yes.
go in. So yeah, I'm just gonna stir that in, and then just let this cook and like on a low to medium heat for about 20 to 25 minutes with the lid slightly off, and then we can build the.
Eleni, I need to let you know that Foti's cutting deals here with your friend Eleni in Greece.
All right, yeah.
I don't know if you can see the chat here, but they're planning the food truck already.
Okay, great. You guys start. I'll just be in the kitchen. Just tell me what to do, where to be, when to be there, and I'll be there.
Well, Eleni from Greece is reassuring us that we'll make a lot of money. So
I bet. Yeah, we don't have like good stuff like that.
I know.
We don't have. So I'm just gonna grab this. I have store-bought phyllo. I need to learn how to make this myself.
oh, I can. It must be such a process, and for me, it looks painful to make your own phyllo.
It's beautiful what people do. Absolutely, when they make it themselves.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating.
It really is. But you have to like have like a big table and you're like stretching it out and like doing all this stuff. And I'm like, I'd like to. I mean, I'm sure it's.
I've seen some clips on some really talented individuals in Greece that have been doing it forever, and like you mentioned, they have these gigantic tables that they do this paper thin, right? Sheets of phyllo. That's wow. It's like
and that's like the legit stuff. Okay, so really quick, what I have here, I have a 9x13 baking dish. You can also wrap them individually in little packets too, or roll them in like little cylinders.
Yeah.
Or use a smaller baking dish, or put it on like a cookie sheet and make like little squares, but this is the easiest version to do, like super easy. And I have my butter here. Can you see everything from where you are?
Yeah.
Okay.
We see. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I have my kind of cooled, but you guys can see it has thinned. Like so with my big dish, this is my vegan butter. And get that, and then I'm going to throw on the phyllo. It doesn't need to be perfect. As I'm like being perfect. This is kind of, it's gonna be like a very light. I'm just kind of like throwing a little bit on because the cup, you don't need it to be drenched. It's not like a ton of butter. A lot of layer. So I'm gonna go back and forth, layer the phyllo on this, be folding. Again, finding out this can be very rustic. They get those sheets with some, and I'll bring you over to this edge now as the next sheet. 5. This one, I'm gonna put 5 sheets on, but it depends of the phyllo that if you have it fresh, obviously, but I'm on layer 3 here. Side by side here. The brown sugar. Where's that?
Eleni, you're cutting up a little bit. I don't know if.
I think it's the location.
Yeah, because when you're doing the regular speaking, you're perfect. But sometimes when you move the.
Oh.
Okay, now she's back. It looks like she's back to normal.
Okay, so really quick to catch up, I'm just kind of going back and forth on this phyllo.
Yeah.
Going side by side, bringing it up to the sides, on alternating it, because I'm going to be pulling this in. You don't need a whole lot of butter on these sheets.
Gotcha.
It's like it's not like a gataburuko. It's not a baklava where you want a lot of butter. Just kind of lightly. I'm gonna put some on the top too. So I did 5 sheets, and I was kind of alternating back and forth, just so I can get them up to the edges. And I'm gonna add the custard here.
Oh, that looks so good.
Turn anyone vegan. Yeah, you never even know unless I said it.
You know, I honestly, I bet you I wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah, it's really not this one. This one especially, you can't even tell because there's not like a big change other than like the milk, you know.
But
And
guys, I'm telling both of you, I want to do this again with oat milk. I feel like oat milk will be a winner.
I'm gonna try it. But yeah, I think that would pair really well with the semolina, actually.
Right?
You're onto
Yeah.
something. You're onto something.
Okay, let's do it.
Fatih, you're the one who declined the oat milk, so
Yeah, it's I gotta get.
I mean, the coffee is a little bit different though.
Yeah, I feel like in coffee that would be really weird.
But you know, Eleni said pairing with semolina, I really do think that's a good match.
Yeah, it has that oatiness, totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Get all that on there. Hot still. Yeah, the custard's great. Just had a little bit.
Is it sweet?
Yeah, you can make it more with like more sugar or add a little. If people like a little bit of lemon zest, then that would be great. So I'm gonna fold this over right now, and I'm gonna add some layers of. So that was, I should have smoothed it out a little bit. But yeah, we're just gonna fold this over. Can you guys still see everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, this doesn't need to be like perfect. You want it to be a little bit rustic. I've even seen Akis at Taziki's. He like kind of puts his phyllo in an accordion style. It's really cool.
Oh,
And I really like that.
very cool.
So now I'm gonna add a little bit more butter because I'm gonna add more phyllo on top of these. 5 more layers, 4 to 5. Depends. Oh, yeah, I'll put on top. Okay, so now with this, I'm not going to be layering it on top. I'm kind of like cutting the phyllo just a little bit. I'm going to be putting this on top and kind of like tucking the phyllo around. This depends on like how you want it to be on top and look. And just again, a nice little drizzle of phyllo on top of here. You don't need as much on the bottom because that's where all the liquid goes. Just a little bit more on top. And then just nice and light on there. Just stir that.
It really does look good.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You're excited because you get to eat it.
Yeah, no, I was literally just gonna say that. Like, sucks for you guys. Just kidding.
Freeze it and
I know. One day we'll do one together, like in person.
Yes, please.
Have fun.
I want to like for once actually smell the aromas and taste the
Make sure, yeah.
right.
This isn't, yeah. You need it. We'll get it someday. Wines and foods and cook it all. Have our food truck going.
the Bugatti truck.
Yeah.
The Bugatti truck.
Yeah. Again, don't worry about this being perfect. It looks kind of nice when it's a little bit more rustic. Just like a little bit here. I'm sure some people like want to like layer it perfectly, but me, I'm like, oh well, I'm gonna be eating it. Look.
So let me ask you: when you layer the phyllo, is there like a magic number? Is it just your preference? Is there a reason?
So for me, I do 5 on the bottom, about 5 on top. And now for me, what I'm looking at is just like, it's kind of like it was kind of break. And so like, I'm just kind of like feeling it a little bit, but I'm kind of to a level where I like the numbers. So I've done 5. So I'm just going to add the rest of the phyllo on top. Of the butter, sorry. The rest of the butter is just going to go on top of whatever I have left. But yeah, with the phyllo, it's just kind of like, I say 5, but bottom and top, it's just kind of like what is looking good. Like right now, like there's no custard like popping up or anywhere, and it looks good. So yeah, and now on top, I'm gonna just put a light little bit of brown sugar just to give a nice crunch on top of the bugazza.
Ah, very nice.
Yes. Yes, and then you can add cinnamon once it's all out of the oven cooked as well, which we'll do. So yeah, nice little layer, adds a little bit of a crunch. And then into the oven we go for about 30 minutes. And oh my gosh, this is such a Greek thing. Like we have all of our pots and pans in the middle of in the oven. So give me a second, camera woman. I need you to hold this.
Classic.
Oh my, yeah. Yeah. Have you guys seen those like funny, you know, like you're opening up the pot and it's just like everything is in the
Greeks want to store everything in every empty space known to man. So
it's like Mary Poppins. Like it's like things just keep coming out of the oven. So 1 second, and then we will put the bugazza in the oven. And really quick, I'm just stirring my orzo. It's been on the stove for about 10 minutes with the orzo in it, and making sure that nothing is sticking. So you always want to stir from the bottom whenever you're dealing with like a pasta dish or especially tomato-y stuff, because you don't want that acidity to kind of come through.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, that looks really good.
And then, well, it'll thicken too. So the orzo will be thickening soon, and then I'll come back to it. So now that the bugazza is in the there, can you see that?
Wait,
yeah. And then
okay, now you're back. Sorry,
am I back? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you cut out a little bit. You're back. You're fine.
Okay, sorry. I don't know why it keeps cutting. So yeah, that will be about 25 minutes, and then we will eat, and then the orzo will be ready as well. So that's still thickening. So yeah, now would be a good time to chat, have wine, whatever.
Sure.
And
so you didn't talk about the sparkler, Foti. So do you want to do that now?
Yeah. So when we try to pair wines with dessert, it can be a little tricky, because if you think about it, desserts are sweet typically, and then we also try to pair sweet wine. So sweet on sweet sometimes doesn't always work, because the sweetness of the beverage or the wine takes away from the flavors of the dish. So what I thought,
it is not to cut you off, Foti, but it is popular to like pair wines with lots of sweets, like chocolate and all sorts of stuff, right?
it is, but you got to be careful. I mean, it's great, yeah. So bitter chocolates, very bitter dark chocolates work better with wine.
Yes.
Again, think about this. Whenever you have something that's sweet on sweet, doesn't it cancel out the flavors?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So
and it's like when you and I are on a webinar together, it's like sweet on sweet, and
we cancel each other out.
Yeah.
So you take that approach to pairing, dessert, and there's got to be contrast. And when I think of contrast with desserts, I think that the dessert itself, the food side of it, is usually heartier, sweeter, denser textures. And then on the wine side, you want contrast. You need the opposite. You want light, effervescent, something slightly sweet, not too sweet. So I think that sparkling rosés are a fantastic addition to a pairing with dessert, because it won't take away from the flavors of, for example, today where Eleni's making this wonderful bugazza, that if we paired a sweet dessert wine, you wouldn't taste the bugazza as well as if you tried it now with a light, effervescent, sparkling rosé. And we chose a sparkling rosé from the northern parts of Greece, which, sparkling wines are becoming popular. They have been popular, but they're gaining more popularity, thanks to wines like Prosecco and Champagne. And the rosé category has really got a lot of folks into understanding and appreciating sparkling wines. But the one that Eleni has has a nice balance of dryness and some sweetness. Not sweet like dessert, but plenty of fruit. And
That is a really good sparkling rosé.
yeah,
I have to say.
in every event that we've done, it's been the fan favorite. It's just inviting. It's easy to drink. There's, freshness from the moment that you pop the bottle, right? A lot of, Eleni experienced the popping of the bottle, right?
I don't know why I was just like, I don't want, I don't know. I was like, I'm gonna open it now, and then so
Right.
yeah.
But so a little bit about the wine real quickly. It's a sparkling wine that's made in Nausa, which is the northwest corner of Greece. It's made from a red grape called Xinomavro. And what happens basically is that wine that Eleni is going to be tasting and having with her Bogata is, first it becomes still wine. It becomes a rosé. They take the Xinomavro grapes, they press them, they ferment them. They leave the skins in for about, I don't know, 12 to 14 hours. They remove the skins so that it has a little bit of time with skin contact, which is where you get that color. And then they remove the skins. They ferment it. It becomes white wine, rosé wine still. And then there's a second process. It's called secondary fermentation. So after it becomes still wine, they actually add additional sugar and yeast at a certain temperature. And that's what creates the carbonation and makes it bubbly. And then once they create the bubbles, they recork it and it becomes a sparkling rosé. That's a French method that was developed in Champagne, France, many, many, many years ago. But the overall results is you have a effervescent, refreshing, crisp, sparkling rosé that has textures and flavors. And it would be, I think, in my opinion, and Eleni will tell us, the ideal pairing with Bugazza.
Okay, I can't wait.
In a nutshell.
That's great.
So you didn't try it yet, Eleni?
Well, I was gonna wait for the Bugatti.
Okay.
Well, I don't know why I was just like so excited to open it, and then I didn't try it. And I was like, I smelled it. I smelled a lot of it in my kitchen. So
You-
yeah, I got the first initial. I got
Oh.
the excitement at the
You got-
beginning, and then now I had the smell. I just want everything just to kind of
I would suggest, Eleni, you try a little glass before as you're waiting.
awesome.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's great to get
Like,
the
Twist her arm, Foti.
oh
Yep.
shoot, I guess.
just like I twist your arm, Ari, all the time.
Yeah, a little bubbly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a good one. This is a really good one.
Bubbles are always thought of having it, pre-dinner, pre-event. It's like the opening of any experience, but you can have sparkling at the end of an event too.
No, this is very smooth. And yeah.
Right?
Most sparkling wines tend to be tart and acidic and dry, depending on what you're having. But this sparkling rosé from Kiriani Estates, which is one of our favorite properties in Greece, they do a good job overall with all of their production.
I love that. That's really good.
And depending on what the finishing touches are on your Bugazza when it comes out,
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I've seen people put fresh fruit over their Bugazza and powdered sugar and so on, but definitely this would be our recommendation for Bugazza.
Yeah, I'm gonna put some powdered sugar on it. Powdered sugar and some cinnamon.
There you go.
That look nice. Yeah. Yeah, so that should be another 20 minutes. I'm sorry, everyone's, but yeah. Ours is almost done though, just thickening up a little bit. I'm just gonna really quick add a little bit more oregano and some cinnamon. You can always just test it, like your flavors, what you want to add more of, what the flavors you want to come out of. So I'm just gonna add just a little dash of both really quick. And a reminder, always stir, stir, stir.
Yes.
Because that is kind of easily sticking to the bottom of the pan.
So
Quick question, Eleni. Are these in your cookbook?
They are not. So.
Uh-oh. Time for the second cookbook.
I know. Yeah. This is a good leeway. Yeah, I would like to include a lot more vegan options in the book. So, just because the Greek diet, I mean, I do have a lot of vegetarian recipes in my book for sure. I do think although I'm not a vegetarian, I tend to cook more vegetarian style my influence is like I think I cook more Cretan style, Cretan from my family, most of my family, not most, but like that's kind of like where I kind of
Well,
associate a lot of my Greek background
Mhm.
is from Crete, and so I definitely cook more heavily towards that kind of style of cooking, which is very vegetarian. And so I do have a lot of that in my cookbook, a lot of vegetarian, but I would like to include more vegan options for because we fast year round. You know, there's
Yeah.
people that really do follow a good Lenten or fast. So
Eleni, you mentioned early on, pre-recording that you read a recent book about the blue zones, right?
yeah,
And there's a reason behind the folks that live in these identified blue zones, which one of them happens to be in Greece, Ikaria, but I think all of Greece is a blue zone, in my opinion.
yeah,
And blue zones are basically where people tend to live the longest amongst amongst the rest of the world. But
yeah.
if you really break down why they live so long, part of it has to do because they are basically, plant-based eaters. They eat very little meat. The only time that they do consume meat is during celebration, so Easter, Christmas, or some major yorti that they'll eat meat. They eat dairy from specific animals. They eat dairy from whether it's goats or sheep's and what have you. So never really cow's milk. And they also drink a lot of wine, which is a plus, right?
Here we are. I think we're winning tonight, really.
Right. So
Yeah.
there's
And I think I mean that I think there's a very there's a lot of detail that goes into that, and I think it's also the fact of processed foods. There's a lot less processed foods in these areas.
right,
They're eating a lot more natural. They're eating a lot more, farm to table style.
right.
Um, and then I don't know if this is as important, but I'm sure it's a factor. There's the whole aspect of the laid back kind of attitude. Like I
Yes.
remember, I don't know, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but like I remember reading about a blue zone and it's like they don't really abide by watches and clocks. They kind
That's
of get to where they're going
Right.
when they get there. They do what they have to do and then they go and do something else.
Well,
Like it's not a rush American style. Like I have a meeting, I have to go, I have to do this, I have to finish work, I have to stay late, I have to do that. Like
so
that's the psychological aspect.
basically, they're not as stressed as you are, Ari. That's what happened.
Well, that's
no,
I believe that's a very major part, big part.
no, the Blue Zone group is a very interesting book, but I can like it kind of is repetitive in a way because you kind of get the point of like this food and whatever. It's a really interesting book though, if anyone is interested.
Yes.
So there's different, so yeah, Ikaria is one of the blue zones. There's Sardinia in Italy. There's
Mhm.
Costa Rica. There's Okinawa, and then there's actually a place in
California.
California. There's Seventh Day Adventists, and so yeah, the basic like factors of these centenarians that have lived long and living well, which are two different things, right? So like we have
Yes.
medicines that keep you on, but they're active, they're walking, and obviously diet is huge. So a lot of them do follow more of a plant-based diet, or they limit their meat intake because back then, like 100 years ago or 50 years ago, meat was expensive. So even my yaya sometimes she's like, "Oh, lamb chops, like you're just gonna have one, right? They're like so expensive." You know? So I'm like, "Okay, now I'll have like whatever." So yeah, meat was expensive, and so they ate more of a plant-based diet. Also, although it doesn't align with what we're talking about today, but for anyone interested, they do get a lot of physical exercise. They walk to a lot of them are still working on their farms. But a huge thing too is social circles. So in Okinawa, they actually call these like moi circles where they like are together and they like work together. And same with Greece, they have like a big like group where people are staying together. They get coffee together and things like that.
Well, so Eleni, there's a reason behind the cafeño. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. We're all doing it right. But what you were saying about the time thing, Ari, is in Ikaria, they don't have watches, they don't have their everything like is broken. There's a really cool story in the book that maybe you guys might find interesting, is one of the guys of the writers was interviewing centenarians at this point, and they were just kind of talking about their way of life. And one of the guys from Ikaria that he was 101 at the time, whatever, when he was being interviewed. And they were kind of talking about his story. He was actually living in America, living in Florida, and he got like a terminal time of death. Like,
I've heard of
he
this.
said that he was going to he had like 6 months to live basically. And so he's like, well, I'm going to move to Ikaria, be with my family. They can take, like, I want to just like and finish my life there. Like, and he was someone that would work so hard in America, like work. And so he moved to Ikaria, and he was weak when he got there, and people would visit him. So he got that social interaction. People would visit him, and people would feed him the like healthy foods, like plant-based foods. And getting a little bit more, he was able to get up and walk, and able to go into the ocean and get exercise and physically move around. And so as a person's interviewing them, like, you get this like terminal date of like, you're gonna die. So he was like, what happened? Like, how can you explain like how you live 40 years after this? And the answer that the guy gave, he was like, I don't know, my doctor's dead. And so that was like in the book. So
That
he didn't have an answer other than the
I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing.
yeah.
And I believe it. I believe so much of everything that they talk about with these lifestyle, like you know, the way people live. Because I know for a fact, like, I'm a very high stress individual. I'm very high strung. I stress about everything. I overthink everything, and I know that's not good. And
Yeah.
I read about these people, and I'm like, how can I adopt this? Yes, I can do the eating. I can do this and that, but it's the psychology that I feel like I have the trouble with, and I think that's a big part of it. And it would be great.
I think it's the environment that we live in that sometimes.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Right.
Absolutely is.
I mean, if we were in a village by the seaside, and you were working from home, and you were watching the ocean.
Oh, you mean when I worked in downtown Boston in a skyscraper? That wasn't a calming, easy experience.
Well, you could have put flat screens with like the ocean, but yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're all going to be moving to Ikaria, whatever, but think of ways that you can adopt that. I mean, like I said, like after I read the book, I did try to eat more like plant-based, and then like you kind of taper off a little bit. But now talking about this, I'm like, oh yeah, this is why I started doing this. And obviously creating good circles and being around people is very helpful for your cognitive function. So keep contact with Ari, and we'll keep doing these wine clubs, and it's going to be so good for all of us.
There you go.
I believe that. I believe that very much.
Yeah, social interaction is very important. I actually work with, and that's why I was really interested in this book, actually, because I was at the time I was working with more older adults in personal training, so I was very interested in aging populations and things like that. And so you'd see the people that come in, and they need that. A lot of people are living alone, and they need that social interaction. It's so important.
Yeah.
For us. So
absolutely. And you know, it's funny because we talk about so many down like negative aspects of the pandemic, but there was a few positive aspects of the pandemic, and that was I was able to like wind myself down a little bit. I was able to like sit back and like, you know, think about things and observe things and try to take a more calm, laid back attitude towards a lot of things, and, you know, connecting with family much more because we're all home a lot more. I really feel like there were some good aspects of it. And now that we're kind of on the horizon of like getting through it, I hope like the positive parts can remain, and we try to like avoid like the real negative parts of pre-COVID life, which was always on the go, always rush, always deadlines, always like late, always this, always that. Like, just let it go, man. You really don't need to do that. You just don't.
Right. I agree. We can like take those lessons for sure. It's reel it in a little bit.
Yeah.
But are there any other questions? So really quick, there's about 10 more minutes on the Bugatsa, and then the Orzo is almost done. So with the Kritharaki, actually, I'll bring this over here. So the sauce is here. So this is gonna thicken. So it's getting really soft. It's pretty close, and then I'm gonna let it stand because as it's standing, the sauce will thicken a little bit. Some people like a more saucy Kritharaki. I'm gonna let it thicken up just a little bit. And as you're going, you just kind of check on the liquid. You don't want it to be, you want the orzo to be covered, like I said, because the orzo soon will be absorbing all that liquid and will thicken. So in about 2 minutes, I'm going to take it off because the orzo's almost done. It's almost soft enough. And then I'm going to let it stand and just kind of cool and thicken up a little bit as it's sitting. But yeah, so about 10 minutes for everything, and we can eat and drink wine and be merry.
Eat, drink, and be merry. I love that. So okay, so Forte spoke about the two wines and why they pair well. So let me just ask you, did you taste both wines?
I did, yeah.
So what do you think? I'm gonna be honest, I personally have a real issue of drinking wine with sweets. Just because I have it already in my head that wine is sweet in general, it has like sugars, and I really try to like not overdo the sugars. So like it's a little tough for me, but I feel like the taste is there. What is it, Fatih?
Are you talking about hangovers? Is that why?
No, that's a whole other episode that we can do. But I'm talking about, she tasted the two wines. We're gonna do it with the food and with the Kritharaki and the Bugatsa, and we'll get Eleni's opinion. But I'm just saying my honest opinion. Like I really have a tough time drinking wine with sweets.
Right. Yeah. Same here.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where I feel like the tastes can mesh well, but like I need more motivation to really take a wine and a sweet together. Like they always talk about like wine and chocolate, wine and this, wine and that, and I'm like, I just can't do it.
I don't know. I think with the Bugatsa especially, it's not like overly sweet.
That's true.
And I think it'll pair really well. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think it's gonna be great. Okay, so yeah, this is like thickened up pretty well here.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm just gonna let it stand and thicken up. Like I said, some people like it a little bit more saucy. Some people like it thick. I'm like in betweener. And it's gonna seem like a lot of liquid right now, but it does thicken up really quickly here as it sits. So I'm just going to let it stand. I'm gonna take it off the heat and let it just stand for about, and with the lid off so the steam, so that it can thicken up a little bit as it sits. So yeah, and then about 10 minutes standing, and then the Bugatsa is gonna be ready in 5 minutes. We got a lot. It's almost there.
That's it. And then you get to enjoy it all and leave us.
I get to enjoy it. Yeah, you guys get to watch it. Yeah.
Leave us longing.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
The technology really has to get to a point.
I know. You guys I wish it was easy to like ship you food,
Right? Like no, we need like the Star Trek like food replicator or whatever that was. Like you make it and then boop, you 3D print it in everybody's house and they could eat it.
No. I feel like we're not too far away from technology. Yeah. This world isn't can definitely probably do that at some point.
I think Forti's working on something like that, right, Forti? Are you on it?
Well, after I have so many of these, I think that I'm onto it.
As Forti stares at his wine, do you have a crayon in your hand, Forti?
Yeah, I was just taking notes with a crayon.
Oh, I thought that was like a weird cigarette.
So Eleni.
Yeah, like, what's going on here?
The how many servings can you get out of the Kritharaki with tomato sauce that you're preparing? You would say in general, could it be like how many portions can you get out of that?
Probably. You know what? Portions are always weird to me because I feel like I'm like a landfill and I can eat a lot. So I feel like it's like always depending on the person. I think this one, like bowl wise, it can probably be about 4 to 6.
Okay.
Um, if that's just like a side, as a meal, I'd probably be in that 4 range. Just kind of depends.
Now here's another question for you, Eleni.
Yeah.
What if you don't finish all of that deliciousness? What would you do with it? Well, how would you store it and have it for later?
Yeah. So the rare occasion that does happen, I will say that you can just store it in the fridge, and then again, it'll thicken in the fridge even more. So
Yep.
reheating it, I like it cold. Like I love cold leftovers. Like it's like I love cold food. Like I'd be like, warm that up. I'm like, no, I love it cold. Like I actually do. But you can put it in the fridge and then reheat it if you really want, and put it on the pot, add a little bit more like liquid, like vegetable broth or water, and then that can just reheat that way.
Eleni, we have a quick question from Christy Zervos. Does the orzo go in the oven at all to be cooked?
No, it doesn't. Not this one. There are variations that they'll do that, and they'll kind of cook partially and then they cook the rest in the oven. So
I feel like not putting it in the oven is better, I feel, for my own taste.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely different versions that have that orzo in the oven. So just kind of trying to think. Yeah, so you can do that. I don't have a version right now with baking it after.
But your version is not, which
yeah, I just on the like one pot meal, like simple, put it together through.
Again, I feel like that's my preferred method, me personally.
Yeah. Everyone has their preference, which is like really cool about anything. You know, it's just if you like it, like then that's all to your personal preference and taste on everything, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
So this is I'm gonna pull this bugazza. Let's see how that's looking. One. Oh yeah, it's almost there. I don't want to open it, but I just did. And then we'll grab some cinnamon on top, and we will enjoy some wine. And I'll plate the orzo. Okay, let me grab a bowl, and we will be on our way.
Nice, because we're hungry.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Unfortunately, we get none of the fringe benefits.
Yeah.
It's all Eleni and her family.
I know, yeah. They get to eat.
Christy Zervos also said that she's heading to your house.
Come on over. That's mine or not.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Thank you for letting me know, because I was going to say, Eleni, lock your door. I don't know who this person is.
Yeah, who's coming. Like I said, whenever you're dealing with me, it's always a family affair, always supportive. So
that's it. That's the best way. That's you talk about blue zones, you talk about longevity, health, family. Family is so important in my opinion. And I don't know if it was mentioned in the books or whatever, but family. I mean, what else do you have in life, really, honestly?
That's social interaction.
Family, social circles, good friends around you is really important to always have.
Cool.
And family, depending, actually, I think most family can be considered the social circle as well, right?
Yeah.
I think about your family. Like your mom seems really cool. She's holding cameras. She's doing like all this stuff. Your dad has like all this info and knowledge. Like you could ask him anything. Like
where is he, by the way?
To me, is a social circle right there.
He's here. He actually just had a surgery last week or 2 weeks ago. He had a.
Well, we wish him a speedy recovery.
Thank you. Yes, but he's always he's nearby. He is my historian and factoid. But
Can you give us a fact for this segment before we end it?
Do you have a fact that you can give me today?
Yeah, 40.
One. What? Give me a topic. You can probably think. Yeah, give me a couple of options, or he'll probably make something.
40's receding hairline. How about that?
No, we're talking about our culture.
Culture.
Culture, history.
Well, so I don't know. Like, what can we ask him?
What does he think about the blue zones?
What do you think about the blue zones?
Greek was the first one. No heart attacks after World War II for a lot of years.
He
That's
said,
where they studied it.
oh, did you hear that?
No.
He said Crete was the original blue zones. After World War II, there were no heart attacks, and they studied it there.
They didn't know
Wow.
And they didn't know why there wasn't. So there was a study there in Crete of,
they all took up smoking. So
but now they took up smoking, so they just ruined everything. You know, they were there and they did, yeah. So
we got to do a segment with her dad. That's it.
What's fascinating in Greece is that you see all these older folks in their 70s, 80s that still smoke, and it doesn't like affect them.
yeah, I don't know.
I think that's an anomaly. I don't think, a lot of people are like, oh, my grandfather smoked till he was 94. I don't think that's a standard thing. I think that's an anomaly because some people's bodies are just different. But I think if you want to have longevity, you're not going to smoke.
Yeah.
Unless you have a relaxed mindset.
Stop trying to make smoking happen, Fuzzy. It's
Yeah.
not going to happen.
It's again, it goes back to that combination. Like, it's a little bit of everything, but I think that more importantly, yes, it's what you put in your body, but I also think it's how your mind is too. Like, the more relaxed you are as a person, I think the less pressure on your body and your mind.
Yes.
That will help you along the way.
I believe that 100%.
Right. Because how many people who work out and they run and they're active and they do a lot of cardio and they end up getting sick because I think it's all driven by, I think in my opinion, because of stress and mental.
Stress is not a physical thing, but it physically degrades you.
Yeah.
Like that's a proven thing. Stress is not good. Stress is physically not good for you, and it's mentally not good for you, obviously.
So why do we do it?
Why do we do it? Because
it's not good. We know it's not good for us. So
this is the life we live.
Yeah, it's just like a stressful life that we live.
Those are excuses.
Listen, we have there's a lot to be said about this. We won't get into it, but
when you have a taste of Eleni's Kritharaki with tomato sauce, your stress will go away.
That's a different story.
Yeah, that's what it is. I just took the bugatsa out. It's just gonna cool, and then
oh my god, look at that.
Look at that. Crackling when you.
Yeah, do you hear that little crackle? Let's go. Let's do another round of that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. A vegan bugatsa.
Yeah, and then on bugatsa.
That's all I need in my life.
Yeah.
So good.
I'm gonna grab some powdered sugar and plate it, and then add some cinnamon, and so you guys can see that with some wine, and then I'll plate the orzo.
Beautiful.
No, yeah, we will have to have my dad on the show. You want to come on the show sometime?
He would. I love talking to people who bring the knowledge.
Yeah.
Yes, bring him on. We gotta.
So the next show, we're booking him from now. We're doing a segment with Eleni and our dad, and we're gonna do history and food.
He wants to do snails.
Whatever it is.
What?
Whatever it is. Sure.
Okay. We're in.
It's a segment of good food and good times.
Is your dad the side that that is Cretan?
Yeah.
All right. That's it. I'm sold, my friend.
So we're gonna do Cretan food, psychodia, and fun facts.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, like he's got the facts, so it would be a very.
We're good.
I'll just be in the background, like the backup dancer, like cooking, and we'll take the show because he can talk. Yeah, he's got it all.
So for our listening audience,
does your dad know that my mom is from Crete, right? And from Chania. I think we talked about this last time. Mm-hmm. And her last name is Tsikudakis, and they always used to claim that they were the founders, the originators of Tsikudia, which I don't know if that's true.
Oh yeah, it's in the name. Yeah, Tsikudakis.
Right.
I talked about this. I have a friend named Tsikudakis in Denver.
I know him.
Like Tsikudia, if you.
I know him. I think, did he go to BU?
I don't know. I'll have to find. I don't know. I'll have to find out. But
or did somebody in his family go to BU?
I'll have to find out. My friend married into the family, so she.
Find out, because I went to school with an Aris Tsikudakis. So we got to talking because both our names were Adi.
Right.
We're like, oh, my name's Adi. He's like, oh, my name's Adi. and we were laughing about it. And then we got into more detail, and he's like, "Yeah, my last name is Tsikudakis." I was like, "What?" My mom's last name is Tsikudakis. So, and he was from Colorado, Denver.
Yeah, okay, I'll find out. I'm just gonna plate everything. The orzo is ready.
Oh, that looks so good.
It's so good to use the time to sit, but I just want to show it as I'm plating everything else, and then I'll get the
With
wine
steam
out.
rising.
Yeah, it's still warm, so it definitely needed some extra time to sit, but whatever. Okay, let me grab a plate for the bugatsa, and I will show you guys how we're doing here.
And again, I want to get your take.
Yes. Yeah, no, I'm excited to try it with the wine.
That's the thing. It's like, tell me if you comfortably can do. I mean, I've had the wine, the sparkler. I love it. I love bugatsa. Together, though, I want to get your take on it.
Just gonna cut a nice big piece for me, whatever. Nice and crunchy phyllo. I need a.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
Okay. Whatever. Okay, so that's, I'm gonna put a little powdered sugar on top and some cinnamon.
Beautiful.
So I'm just gonna use my hands because I don't want to use a lot right now. A little bit of cinnamon in case you see what I'm doing here.
Look at that.
And bam, some bugatsa. See the custard there.
That looks good. That looks good.
So my wine's ready for the ultimate taste test.
There you go.
Wines and bugatsa. And I'm sorry, everyone watching. I would love to eat with you at some point.
Wow.
But for now, you have to watch me eat.
Inspiration.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna take. Well, bubbles always are deceiving.
Right.
Okay. So we can eat together virtually. Is anyone, what's up? Everyone else eating tonight? Okay. So should I have a sip first and then have
Yes.
some?
Sip first, bite, and then sip again.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Okay. So let's see. I'll come down here.
Cheers.
She has a
I work on my videos going over here. Like some people have like 3 different cameras, but
This works for us.
it works.
I can hear the flaky
Crunchy
sounds of
pizza.
the,
No warm. It should be kind of cooler, but that's okay. Okay.
Oh my gosh. I could picture it. I could picture it right now. So you have the sparkler on your palate. You took a bite,
That's actually a very good pairing.
right?
I will say, sorry, that's like still so hot. I should let it cool, but
yeah, don't bring
I'm
it.
very patient. I always eat hot foods. I'm like, throw it in, that's fine.
So back to my comment about like being like really weird with drinking any sort of wine with sweets.
Yeah.
We talked about why I'm weird about it, but you give us your take. Like, it's not that bad?
Actually, no. I think if this was like how you said with wine, I think if this was like a red wine, I wouldn't want to have like a hard wine with this.
Yeah.
But I think I'm like, I feel like I've become like a very good with wine now. I'm like, oh, I'm all knowing, but I'm really not. But I feel like this is my personal take. But I think with the sweetness and then the bubbly, I think it kind of like brings them both out together. I think it kind of adds a little pop that I want.
So imagine you're out. You're like in Athens. You're like in a nice, beautiful area, nice atmosphere. There's people around. The weather's gorgeous. You're having a bugatsa. you're having this sparkler, this would be a great experience.
Yeah, I think so. So it's not like the uncommon to have like sweets with like a sweet drink. Like I remember like in Spain they do like churros with like a sweet hot chocolate. And so I think like if you pair
Oh,
it
yeah,
well,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
kind of like a nice like simple sweet where it's not like overly sugary, you know, like I wouldn't want like a brownie or something like heavy or like something like that with it. I think
Yeah,
it
yeah.
has like a little bit like that element with like that phyllo dough and then like the
Like you're
cinnamon.
not gonna do a jelly donut with
Yeah. So yeah. So I think it just depends on what you're eating it with. I think that's actually very good.
Nice.
So there
Excellent.
you go. Way to pair those together.
Bravo de Foti.
Good. I'm gonna show you more of this, and then the orzo here, the Kritharaki with tomato sauce.
That really looks good, Eleni.
Yummy.
Thank you. You can use vegan cheese on top instead of mizithra, but I'm gonna eat it plain. I like it plain.
Nice.
So yeah, those are two simple dishes. They really are like a lot simpler to put together, but like when I'm going back and forth and talking, getting excited about Blue Zone groups, I get carried away. But
you know what? This is the kind of information that we love because you know we do these webinars. Yes, you're demoing food, you're demoing recipes, we're pairing wines, but you know what? There's a lot of information that comes out, and I think that's a really interesting aspect of doing these things, especially the social aspect, because you're bringing something to the table. Foti always brings some good stuff to the table. I contribute nothing, so don't worry about me. But this is the type of but this is the type of thing that like that we want to present to people. You know, the people who understand and know what they're doing to give us this kind of information and to talk about stuff that they know. And your dad, you know, don't forget that we're gonna get your dad on here because he's gonna bring some knowledge. I know it.
He will. Yeah, you're using me to get to my dad, aren't you? No.
Yeah. It was our plot all along.
I knew it. No, he's got it. He's excited.
Awesome.
Are you so excited? Yeah, he'll love it. We'll have to plan that for like one of the next one or two, whatever we do.
Sure.
Yeah. We'll plan it out. You'll plan out some dishes that has some history that he could talk about, and we'll take it. Like, it'll be so cool.
He'll
I love
talk,
this.
and then I'll kind of chime in and cook, and he likes to cook too. So we'll go back and forth.
Yeah. You guys will be like a team, tag team.
Yeah, the two of us just back and forth, or yeah. So
Awesome. So, Foti, take us home, Foti.
All right, brother. So the recipes that Eleni demonstrated so eloquently are going to be listed, and it will be live always on our app, right, Ari? It'll be on the event list.
So the event page will always have all the recipes, but we will also post everything on the video, on the podcast, and on the app. We want it to be everywhere. We want it to be searchable. We want it to be like indexable by Google, all that stuff, all the geeky tech stuff. So yes, you'll be able to find it very easily.
So I learned two words. I learned coconutty.
Coconutty.
Indexable.
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 Awesome. I missed indexable. When did that?
Listen.
I love it.
If we say it enough, Eleni, you have a huge social media following. You say this 2-3 times, Webster's Dictionary is going to be calling to put this in the dictionary. Trust me.
I'm gonna. Yeah, and you guys will be coming at me for royalties. So I don't know the word.
If you could get it in a dictionary, it's all you, Eleni.
Yeah, I like coconutty. I think that could take off.
I love it. But yeah, so Ari, you know, we're gonna have also all of Eleni's social media handles listed, so they can find out more about Eleni and what she's doing, so they can follow her. Eleni, thank you so much once again for putting together a easy to follow but interesting and fun, and I'm sure very tasty segment with the dishes that you put out. We're definitely gonna have you back along with your dad. From my end, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to chat with you guys. You guys are always so easy to talk to and hang out with. And thank you everyone for watching and following along. I always appreciate it. Definitely looking forward to Cretan Day. So
Yes.
And the last thing, Eleni, before I turn over to Aria, is you got to tell us what you think about the kurabiya, this popcorn that you got.
Oh yeah.
So
I
whenever
yeah,
the time
I
comes,
want to show everybody this. I'm not gonna do it right now because I already have like tomato sauce and powdered sugar and everything on my shirt. So I'm just gonna like give that a break because this is the curabieras, which is like I'm just like a messy person. I don't know what's going on with me.
Yeah, but that's life. That's you're living. You're living life. You
Yeah,
can't be
I just-
me.
yeah. So I'm excited to try this popcorn. I had the baklava one last time, so now we have the curabieras. So it's really cool.
excellent.
So
Awesome.
thank you, Greekazon, for sending that. So if anyone's not on the app, you should be because they have a lot of great Greek products.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Eleni. Always a pleasure. You are awesome. You. I love like the whole flow. I love how you do your recipes. Simple, straightforward, but entertaining. Thank you again for being with us. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you, Foti, for bringing all your wine knowledge. Again, I'm kind of useless over here, but I'm going to take you guys out. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening. We will have this as a podcast video tomorrow. It'll be on the app. You will be able to watch, stream, listen, however you want. Thank you. Join us next time, and definitely join us for the next Eleni episode because a little birdie told me her dad's going to be there.
My dad will be there.
If your mom's holding the camera, we're going to make this a family affair.
Yeah, I'll get my family. I'll get my nunash. Yeah, I'll get everyone.
Yeah, get it all. Get everybody. We love it. We love it. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you for watching, listening. Eleni, thank you. Foti.
Have a nice Easter.
Thank you. And yes, yeah, have a nice
Very
Easter,
nice.
everybody.
Take care, everybody.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.